Tensions in Northern Ireland between pro-British unionists and supporters of a united Ireland have increased again. In the end, England could be left alone with its Brexit, says Christine Heuer. The worst part is that the Tory base, which is critical of the EU, would have no major problem with it. Brexit is to blame. It still divides the British and, most of all, it divides the nations that are not English, but Scottish, Welsh and Northern Irish. In Northern Ireland, that split is escalating into brute force. Young people, many of them barely older than 13, throw Molotov cocktails, set buses on fire and attack police officers and reporters. It is a rebellion against the border in the Irish Sea. This border effectively separates Northern Ireland from metropolitan Britain. It demands controls on the transport of goods, leaves empty shelves in Northern Irish supermarkets, and feeds the Republicans' desire for a reunification with Ireland. Everything from the point of view of the pro-British unionists who want to be as closely intertwined as possible with London. But the tricky part is, their greatest friend, Boris Johnson, is also their worst enemy, because no one strove for the hated maritime border more than the British Prime Minister. And nobody does less to ensure that it works halfway without friction. Johnson didn't want to compromise. He wanted out of the European Union no matter what the cost. Not even the price of a border across the kingdom seemed too high to him. That was not a problem at all. The boss in Downing Street casually waved away early concerns. With a great new digital technology, the British would ensure that no one could feel it, this border in their own country. But the technology does not exist to this day, and everyone feels it. The limit as the price for Brexit. The fact that it could endanger peace in Northern Ireland was a major concern from the start. The motto, therefore, under no circumstances should there be a border between Northern Ireland and Ireland again. It is now clear that unrest is also igniting at the alternative border. Brexit and peace on the Irish Islands, that's squaring the circle. Withdrawal from the EU has left the UK with an almost insoluble problem. Northern Ireland is just the tip of the iceberg, particularly visible because the division between unionists and nationalists has long been established, because Brexit materializes most clearly there, and because the nerves are particularly bare here. But it has long been fermenting in other parts of the country as well. The Scots will vote for a new parliament next month. If they confirm the nationalist government, then that is a preliminary decision for a new independence referendum. Even in Brexit-friendly Wales, more and more citizens are flirting with breaking away from London. In the end, England could be left alone with its Brexit. Little England instead of global Britain. And the worst thing is, surveys show that the Tory base, which is critical of the EU, would have no major problem with it. Brexit is more important to them than the kingdom. And just mentioning it once again, this border in the Irish Sea, even Theresa May wasn't willing to do that, because that was the first offer of the EU that time. That's why it came to Theresa May's backstop, which her own party stopped. But the price of Brexit. And with the backstop, all these problems wouldn't be there. But the sovereignty, like Boris wants it, because for certain groups that, let's say are on his side, it would be bad not to diverge from EU standards. And with the backstop, they couldn't do that. Now they can diverge from EU standards, and you can make a hell of a lot of money with speculating on the pound, with probably buying cheap land from agricultural areas where they can't afford to work anymore and stuff like this. Once again, we're ahead of some very interesting times. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel. Auf Wiedersehen.